Hello, friends and beautiful people. It's Catherine Massell. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm going to share this in a couple groups. And we'll see if I'm in the right place. Hopefully I am. So we are already halfway through March. It is the Ides of March today, this very day. Hi, Christine. And here we are, rolling through 2022. It's 2022. We don't, as women, have the luxury anymore to hide behind the facade of being a confused, overwhelmed woman showing up in the world. Was it a luxury? I don't know, but we can't afford that anymore. Because here's the thing about women, and this is especially true now, hi Tevi, hi DC, that we are holding codes for ascension within us that are very unique. And when we align with a certain resonance, like our power, we know how powerful we are. We know that we are forces of change. We know that our very ability to create life lets us know that if we have the ability to procreate, create life, then we have the ability to create the life that we love. And there's something that is very unique to women in the ascension codes that they hold for the transition into, it's 11:11 here, for the transition into the New Earth timeline. And like I've talked about many times, the New Earth timeline is here. It's not that we're in expectation of it. It's here. It's just not fully grounded yet. Okay. Just want to make sure everyone can see me and hear me okay, because I can't see myself. So I just want to make sure real quick that I am in the right place. There I am. Okay, cool. So something really important to anchor into, this idea that women hold these ascension codes for the New Earth timeline. And the New Earth timeline is here. It's not something we are in expectation of. It's here. It just hasn't fully anchored itself. It hasn't been fully grounded yet. Women have an important role in being able to actualize these codes, meaning bring them from the etheric, the world of non-form, into physical form. Because our very ability to create life allows us to ground certain energies that, yes, there are codes assigned to gender, okay? So men are not capable of that, okay? They are capable of grounding different energies, and definitely sacred masculine. There is no grounding of the sacred feminine without the sacred masculine. It is a balance. It is a marriage. It is the Hieros Gamos. It is tantric. Tantric, the discipline of Tantra is highly misunderstood to just be something that is sexual. It is about the marriage of the feminine and the masculine, and not just in a physical, sexual way. Okay? And women hold those codes too, to be able to bring in that balance and being able to align with the sacred masculine within her in order to ground a new reality. Because without a balance in the Hieros Gamos template, which is the sacred marriage, the sacred holy union of masculine and feminine, we can't manifest reality in integrity. There has to be a balance. And we have this interesting paradox here on planet Earth that we never find the total balance here. That's not the nature, that's not built into the construct of 3D reality. But we are meant to be here to remember it and to strive for it, to reach for it, okay? So women are holding these codes for ascension. What does that mean? What does that mean? There have been patterns on this planet that need to be disrupted. quite simply. If we're going to talk about it in layman's terms here and make it the easiest way to grasp as possible, we need to talk about the fact that what has collapsed and is collapsing every day, old paradigms, structures, imbalances of power, misuse and abuse of power, and structures and systems that supported all of that, paradigms that held belief systems that kept that perpetuating over thousands and thousands of years, all of it's collapsing because it's part of the older timeline. It's time is up, okay? Time's up. Remember that? Well, that applies to the old Earth timeline as well. These structures and unwholesome systems have created such chaos, such mayhem on this planet that there has been a tipping of the scales towards a lot of toxic, hyper-masculine energy. And I'm not talking about men being bad here. I'm talking about the energetics of masculine, which can be in the hyper-toxic form, domineering, manipulating, controlling, okay? Freedom of expression, receptivity, and the ability to move towards deep listening and surrender, that has been absent. Those last 3 or 4 things that I talked about have been absent from this hyper-toxic masculine paradigm. You guys with me so far? Hi, Angela. Hi, Catherine. And so women hold the codes, yes, in the gender encrypted DNA, to be able to anchor ascension codes on this planet that are aligned with receptivity, that are aligned with freedom of expression, that are aligned with a more egalitarian way of being for all. The ability to be able to weigh all sides of issues, the ability to be receptive, to deeply listen, to deeply surrender, to deeply receive, to allow. Okay, these are things that have been absent on this planet. But this is exactly what kind of disruptor codes, I call them, in the DNA that women carry and are here to uniquely anchor. Because even though we have this negative connotation about disruptor energy, right now, it's very good. It's very good. Because what we are disrupting was unwholesome for the planet. And there is a deep nurturing that needs to take hold in order for a new timeline to not only surface, but to ground and anchor in 3D. Women hold those codes too. To be able to nurture life, new life. And this is the precipice that we stand upon. Now, it's a very exciting time, but a lot of women, here's the wrinkle, a lot of women don't realize the codes that they hold and how much power they possess. So they explain things away, or they dismiss certain things out of their energy outright, that someone else deserves to wear the mantle of a leader or someone who can be the boss. Okay, we'd rather just sometimes keep the peace, don't rock the boat, don't make too many waves, don't talk too loud, kind of shrink into a corner. Those days are over. Problem is, a lot of women on the planet act like they're not, and that they still can be, persecuted in the ways that we have seen that violently, abusively play out in times before. We're not in that timeline anymore. We have to be able to adjust our beliefs, our actions. We have to have an ability to go out in the world with a different kind of mental fortitude, a mental toughness, if you will, because that's what it takes to be able to anchor something new and something this radically different. To be a disruptor in this way, bringing in more wholesome patterns, grounding that and breathing life into a more wholesome way for the timeline and for the human family going forward, that takes a certain amount of resilience and power. Wow, Catherine, it seems I gave away my power in my past life and still dealing with this intergalactic being manipulating, thinking this is the past. Well, anything that we're still operating with now. It's not the past at all, right? And there is no such thing as a past except our recognition of it and awareness of it now. So the past and the future are hallucinatory concepts, even though it doesn't feel that way. So you're not stuck in the past. You're stuck right now, thinking about something that you project as your past, right? That's a whole other live conversation. But now do I keep it closed forever? That's up to you. That's the thing. It's all up to us. Where we decide to place our energy, what we'll resonate with every day in terms of what we believe, what we think, how we act, it is all up to us. And the problem is, and this goes right to the heart of this lack of feeling powerful issue, is that we're constantly outsourcing someone else to be the boss of us. Is my past the boss of me? Is this other timeline the boss of me? Is this other person the boss of me? Women do not have to cave into any way, shape, or form outsourcing their own inner authority to anything or anyone else. And when we do that, we're actually operating in a very erroneous thought form, because we can't really ever give away our power. We're just deciding to resonate with this frequency or that frequency. And if you're resonating with the frequency of I'm not strong enough, then you're going to project that into your outer reality, and you're going to match up with other situations that validate your inner belief and your inner decision that you made that I am not strong enough. So where do we keep doing that? Where do we keep looking for validation of our own lack of inner spiritual and female authority? There's lots of ways. The problem is we have to get real with ourselves when we're doing it. We have to be able to recognize it. We have to be able to call ourselves out on it. This is difficult, right? With the world as it is, we feel put upon by the things that are falling away. We're grieving for lost parts of self. We are grieving for systems and structures that are falling away that help to anchor our identity. The problem is these systems and structures that are falling away that helped us to anchor our identity were not authentic to our divine human nature. They were a mismatch. But it doesn't matter most days, because as a human, we crave identity. Our ego craves place. It craves a way to catalog and compartmentalize our reality. And we do that through our personality, i.e., our personal reality. And if so much of our personality and personal reality is tied to these systems and structures that are falling away, most days, let's face it, we feel like we are living completely at odds with ourselves. Because we feel like these systems or these structures, even this old way of being that really doesn't fit us anymore, like a pair of shoes we've outgrown, we've just held on to it and tethered ourselves to it so tightly that we're not just willing to give it up and let it go. Even if it was uncomfortable being that way. Even if it was uncomfortable and too much of, being contracted and living inside of a box to operate our lives from that viewpoint and vantage point, it was still us. It was still who we grew up to know and identify as this is me, right? So on the daily, we are grappling with this sense of grief. But here's the thing about grief, because we are in a dualized reality here in 3D. So that means there's two sides to everything. So grief, even though it is a very painful emotion and resonance, it's actually not as low on the emotional spectrum or scale of frequencies in terms of emotions as you think it is. It's actually just a step up from anger in terms of the resonance. So sometimes for us, grief can be misplaced anger. Not always, but sometimes. But grief also lays us bare. Grief lays us bare. I want you to think about that. This grieving for lost parts of self, where we feel we're not in our power, is always an opportunity to say, you know what? But I can give back, or I can give myself over to and accept and forgive that this was how I was operating before. This was my vantage point of myself before. This is how I viewed my entire world before. But I don't have to do that anymore. In the grief, there is a special moment of when we've laid ourselves bare and we are literally naked with that emotion of grief, we have sloughed off pretty much everything. That means we are a fresh template. We're a clean slate, in other words. And how we decide to build ourselves up from there is completely and totally our choice. It always is. It is always our choice. So wherever you are in the grief right now, something that's falling away, maybe something in your life that you used as a crutch to identify yourself, that wasn't you. That was something you experienced. It's a snapshot of your life and how you were operating in it, but it's not you. That person, that job, that way of being, that is not the end-all be-all story of you. It's just a component. Yet we treat these things that are falling away as if our entire reality and what we grapple with in terms of realizing or understanding, even trying to understand our own power, we give that away with that loss of identity, that loss of self, when we don't need to. Instead, if we can be with the grief and really plunge into it head first, and I know it's hard to do, and say, but this is exactly where I get to start anew. And women, that is your power. Wherever life is laying you bare at the moment, right on the other side of you recognizing, that's it. I surrender. I don't have to give myself over anymore to anything that diminishes my worth, that diminishes my sense of self, that diminishes my sense of power, that diminishes my sense of will, personal determination. I don't have to give myself over to any idea, scheme, structure, system, paradigm ever again. I don't have to do that. Because that is the power of being laid bare. You get to choose a new reality. Is it reinvention? It could be. But we have to be careful with reinvention. Because reinvention, if we're not looking at and really evaluating and recognizing what we are saying goodbye to, what we are saying outright, I'm no longer available for this, I don't have the energy or the resonance for this anymore, I can't support this, not where I'm going, okay? When we can be with that energy and say, no more, not available for it anymore, we have to really look at and recognize who we've been. We have to. When we're not doing that, it's avoidance. And whatever we avoid, we don't accept. And whatever we don't accept, we continue to judge. And so if you're in this place of, okay, I can lay myself bare, I can be with the grief, and use that as a powerful catalyst for creating who I want to become, this clean slate energy, or I can just pretend, la la la, this wasn't me, I'll just go ahead and do this thing over here. You have to incorporate all pieces of you, even the painful parts. This is something we go deep into in the In Alignment program, that if you can accept who you've been, and that the reason why you operated that way, believed that way, thought that way, was because you didn't know any better at the time, then you're in this beautiful sweet spot of being able to recognize it, have awareness of it, fully let it go, and then keep whatever gifts you have from that gleaned piece of wisdom. And then you can reinvent yourself as you wish, okay? So the thing about being able to be in this energy and have the power then of being willing, having the willingness to be laid bare by our own emotions, our own grief, our own feelings of loss. When we get to that sweet spot where we can accept who we were because we didn't know any better, we were working with the best amount of knowledge available to us at the time, okay? So let yourself off the hook. Accept that. Stop judging it. Stop judging yourself. Stop judging what you did, what you said, how you acted, because you didn't know any better at the time. You are a different person now. You are in a different resonance now, simply by what has fallen away from this old earth timeline. You are in a different energetic bandwidth. You are occupying a different frequency. You are not the same person. Even though some days your ego is trying to hoodwink you into thinking that you are, you're not. You're in a different frequency. You are occupying a different energetic bandwidth. So even though you might attempt to do something that you did before, it's not going to look the same again. It's not going to feel the same again either. Okay? And a lot of the judgment that we have, again, from something we are not willing to look at, we're avoiding it, we don't accept it, we'll look at something that, well, I did this before and it didn't work out. Yeah, but you're not that person anymore. So we'll often judge our failures as, well, I tried it once and it didn't work out, and that's it. The door is closed, so, I'll look somewhere else. Well, I don't know. Is it still ruminating around in your energy? Is it still a vision that you hold? Is it still a powerful energy within you that's screaming for the next level of change, ready to come into your life? Because maybe that door isn't shut. But a lot of times our ego tells us we can't do things that are hard. That's never going to be your higher self. That's never going to be your God self talking. When you hear that little inner critic, that inner judge in your head, we don't do things that are hard. We're not good at doing things that are hard. That voice is a loser. It's not a real voice that's working with the full purview of who you are. And that voice is never going to come from the highest aspect of you, your master God self aspect, if you want to call it that. That is pure ego talking. Pure ego, because it is in a place where it's constantly scanning for threats. So doing something uncomfortable is a threat. Putting yourself in a danger zone is a threat. Whether that's you having to think or do something uncomfortable, your ego is going to shut it down or tell you not to go there, okay? But it's never going to be your God self. So when you sit with that same energy of, I want to do this, or I have this vision and I can see that, you really have to go into first, where is this in the body? Where is this in the body? When you have this vision of how your life could be, let's just start right there. Let alone, how that's rolled into purpose. And purpose, the way a lot of people talk about it, is not how I talk about it. I talk about purpose as who you be, not what you do. What you do is secondary. Your purpose is the very vibration that you hold. Your purpose is who you be, moment to moment. When you're talking with someone in the grocery store, when you are having an exchange with a customer service rep on the phone, when you are taking your dog for a walk and saying hello to people in the park. Are you in your purpose? Meaning, are you operating in a bandwidth where you are engaging, interacting with the world at large in alignment with what gives you meaning? That's your purpose. So when you have, sorry, I went out for a second. When you have this vision, what would it be like if my life was like this? If I lived here, if I was doing this thing, if I was having this conversation with someone, if I believed in myself, if I thought better of myself, if I had more faith in the universe, whatever that is, and you hold a vision for something that is more of an idealized expression of who you are, okay? When you feel that in the body, do you get scared or you get excited? Because you're feeling one more than the other, okay? And not one or the other is good or bad. Let's move away from the need to judge it or place value on the feeling. But where you feel it in the body can tell you a lot about, hey, this is really close. I'm really close to this. Maybe if I just did something a little bit with this to move towards this every day, then I'm right in my breakthrough. I'm right in that sweet spot of reinventing myself. A lot of times when we feel it, especially for women right now, when we feel it right underneath the breasts and on top of the solar plexus chakra, if you made a fist and went right in your breastplate there, bottom of your breastplate, a lot of times when we feel stuff there, that's a good indication that, like, okay, I'm actually really pretty close. But here's the thing. If you can see it and if you can feel it, it's meant for you. Because we don't have awareness of anything that's not meant for us. Okay? That includes your desires. So if you have a desire, know this about your desire. Your desire is not just yours. It belongs to Source. And it comes through you through the filter of your soul. It delivers it right smack dab in the middle of your physical reality so that you can see it, feel it, taste it, know it, hear it, whatever. And if you have awareness of it, it's meant for you. It's etched into your destiny. Whether you choose from your free will, God's sovereign self, to act on that is entirely up to you. It doesn't mean that the universe isn't going to keep delivering that desire to you. And the other thing about our desires is it's always a glimpse into how we step up into more of who we be, how we elevate more into our purpose. And when we're doing that, we are accessing all the abundance that comes with it. And that abundance that you want that comes with that, this idealized expression and you living that out, it's not just yours either. When you are in that place of reaping the rewards of living your best life, your abundance matters. It feeds everyone. It creates a ripple effect because when we step up with this level of power of accessing what it is that we desire and we're living in resonance with it, we are living alongside, inside of our desires. We are also living alongside abundance. We are living inside of an abundant universe and resonating with all those gifts and everything that comes with that, all the synchronicities, all the serendipity that comes with that. Aligning with all the right opportunities, the right people, the right situations, all that good stuff. And that's just not purely ours. That belongs to the universe because abundance is the purview of the universe. So anytime we tap into something that is of the purview, the mana of the universe, it's not just ours. But we are a featured player in it, and we get to exhibit what it's like to be in abundance to others. This has a ripple effect. That's why your abundance matters. That's why you stepping into this higher idealized expression of you matters, because then other people can see what abundance looks like. Because we are here to be physical representations of the mana of the universe, which is abundance. If you're getting tingles on this, you're in the right place. Okay? I'm ready to move forward, claim my power back. You never didn't have it. You just didn't believe it. You're like Dorothy in Oz. We can never really give away our power. We operate from this illusion that we can. You can't. You are never not all of who you are. We just labor under the illusion from the ego's perspective, which again isn't working with the full purview of everything that we are, that we think we can give power away. So we'll end up operating and creating behaviors as if that's true. And so it feels true, but it's never true. You just want to change it so you're operating in the fullness of your power and activate all of those ascension codes that you are here to name and claim and anchor in the physical. So this vision that you hold, even if it feels bold, even if it feels lofty, too big for you, etc., etc. I mean, we have so many ways of talking ourselves out of our greatness, talking ourselves out of our vision. If you have awareness of it, it's meant for you. Okay? But it's going to require that you make some changes. Because if it's meant for you, it's just a resonance mismatch at the moment. So that's going to require a different way of thinking. It's going to require a different way of believing in yourself. It's going to require a different level of trust that you hold in yourself to be capable, to be able to handle the bigness of this vision. It's going to take you, and here's the tough part, a lot of us struggle with as women. It's going to take this, and this is a really key piece. Whatever it is that you desire that feels so big and lofty and too big for you, blah, 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 and all that other bullshit that we tell ourselves, you're putting that desire on a pedestal. So whenever you put something on a pedestal, it's like you're creating this impossible standard for yourself, this unreachable ambition, so that your desire forever stays aspirational and not acquisitional. Does that make sense? So think about that. Think about the biggest thing that you want right now. Like, it's so big. It's like so tasty, so crazy big out there, whatever. No one else is doing it. And if we're honest, a lot of women are holding that vision. They just don't cop to it. I can't tell you how many women I work with who are like, I don't know what I want. Bullshit. Yes, you do. It's so big it scares you. There is no woman on this planet. I'm going to go ahead and make a bold statement here. There is no fucking woman on this planet who doesn't know what she wants. I call bullshit. Every fucking woman on this planet knows what she wants. She might be afraid to say it out loud. You know, it might sound too showboaty, or who the hell am I to have this, or who the hell am I to talk about this and say that it could be mine? Look at my life now. I'm not even close to that. Again, ways of dumbing down, diluting our energy, thinking that we're giving away our power, right? You know what you want. So that thing that feels so big, so tasty, so colossally huge, and it's taking up this valuable energetic real estate within you because it feels so amazing to even just daydream or fantasize about it. What is that? Where do you feel it in your body? Does it give you the butterflies in your belly? Do you feel that in that space right here underneath your breastplate? Could you feel it in your higher heart? If you feel it in your higher heart and next to the throat chakra, that means that you need to voice it. You need to express it. It takes the lion's courage to be able to voice our desires and say it out loud. But I'm going to talk about that in a second too, because we have to be careful of the company that we keep. Because if you're still hedging your bets on this desire and thinking, well, this sounds great, but I can't really have it. This seems awesome. Oh my God, all the things that would happen if this kind of came in or whatever, why, you know, everything would just line up in my life in this way or whatever. Okay. When you start thinking that way and you start feeling that way, and we get excited about it, and we launch into this ecstatic release about our desire, this is our sacred code of a birthing mechanism with women, okay? It is procreative, not that you're creating a physical being, but you're creating physical form. So when you have this ecstatic release of feeling the desire, it creates, it's like a birth canal. It really is, because it starts a progression of events in place. And the universe starts to reorganize itself to conspire on your behalf, in other words, to create the right situations, the right synchronous moments for this desire to land with you, okay? And when we speak it into being, we have a lot of extra creative power that we add to it. When we voice this around people who are not our people, meaning maybe we're surrounding ourselves with people who do not line up with our particular aspirations. If you are spending your time around people who are naysayers, people who are constantly commiserating about the state of the world and the inflation and the war, and not that all these things aren't happening. Women are hyper aware of all the things that are happening most of the time. But that doesn't mean we have to sit with the energy and commiserate with it, because this is void energy and it takes us away from the valuable power that we give towards our manifestation of our desires, okay? I feel it in the space above my solar plexus in the back of my head, right above my right ear. Ooh, very specific. I love that. And so you can work with that. And if it's above your ear, you're working with ear chakra energies, you can ask that more information come into you in a clairaudient way, right? So when we're sitting with this and feeling into it, and being with this energy, and we speak it out loud. Who are you surrounding yourself with? And I will tell you something about the company that you keep. When you are working towards something that feels really aspirational to you and you're new to holding a big vision and moving yourself towards that, part of your responsibility, a big part of your responsibility to yourself and the accountability for manifesting this desire, which again is not just for you, it belongs to the universe. So can you be big enough for the planet and the rest of the human family and yourself to be able to say, I'm going to start hanging out with different people. People that are already believing in greater things that are taking hold. People who are already fully convinced that we are moving into a different paradigm, a more wholesome, egalitarian way of being. Not all of that might be showcased in the physical realm yet, but are you hanging out with people? Are you spending your time and your valuable energy, your energetic space that you are taking up? Are you sharing it with people who resonate with the same themes and dreams, aspirations, ambitions, desires that you do? And here's the real rub. If you are holding a very big vision, and I mean really big, it hasn't been done before, you haven't seen anyone do it, you've never done it. If you are keeping the company of people that will never understand that will never get it, talk you out of it, not be able to see it, it has nothing to do with them trying to limit you. It has everything to do with the limitation that they hold in their own space. That's for them to work on, but not for you to take on. Does that make sense? So we've got to make some adjustments. And here's where we go a little bit further. Okay, so you have to protect your power in this way. This is how we protect our power. We have to be a little more choosy, a little more discerning in our energetic real estate that we take up in terms of the space we allow others to occupy around us. And if we are holding a really big vision and you define yourself or give yourself any kind of identifying factors around being a visionary, someone that can hold a vision that doesn't look like anything else on planet Earth at this time. You don't know anyone else who's doing it, but you feel it, you see it. It might just be scaffolding in your mind and your energy, and you can kind of see it in broad strokes. The nuances of it haven't filled in yet. But nonetheless, you have awareness of it, so you know it's yours. And you know there's a part of you that is, you are this unique, individuated thread of consciousness. So this desire, this dream, this vision, filtered through the soul from the universe, you are meant to be the conduit of it. You're meant to be holding the birth canal for it. Your own unique, individuated consciousness is meant to be the final magic, the final fucking fairy dust on this thing to have this be birthed into the world and become part of physical material form. That's visionary energy. And it's big. It's no joke. And it takes a good deal of responsibility and accountability to hold that resonance. So you must protect it. Because as we are being laid bare, not only as individuals, but as a collective, as the human family, as old earth paradigms die away, systems, structures close out, and we are being laid bare, waiting with bated breath for what's new to take hold, it's going to be women who are going to do that. And it's going to be women that are visionaries, but they are disruptors in a wholesome way. Because they're here to disrupt the thinking, though, oh, women can't do that, or we can't do that, or look at the things that are happening in the world, this can't take hold yet. The visionary hears that, it goes one ear and out the other, you're like, okay. You have to be able to have the kind of mental toughness and a little bit of the lone wolf energy too, to be able to say, nuh-uh, nope, this vision is too big. If I can feel it, hear it, taste it, know it, it's behind my ear, and I have source speaking to me into my ear chakra, I know it's for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have awareness of it. It feels so big, but I know it's just a matter of raising my resonance up to match the energetic of this vision. And then I can sprinkle my fairy dust on it with all of my unique talents, gifts, and abilities to bring this through the birth canal of reality and make it part of physical form. And visionary energy can only really be sacred and held in this place where it's untouchable if we create a sanctuary for it. We'll only share it with certain people. We keep our own counsel a lot of the time. So there's a certain mental resilience, mental toughness, and emotional intelligence that needs to be in place for a woman to be a visionary, because it's not this vision that's so big you can't constantly go to ego and say, hey, is this going to be okay? The ego doesn't have any information for you. It can only evaluate and deliver directives to you on what is known, what has been part of the fabric of known experiences. Reality that's already played out, whether by you or someone else in the collective. Your ego has no other information to give you on anything else like that. None, zero, zip. And we can't go to someone else who doesn't also hold visionary energy and be like, is this going to be okay? Is this going to work out? How do I do this? They will have no idea. Not only will they have no idea, but it'll scare them so much that they will want to shut it down, or it'll trigger them because they'll feel like it's something they want for themselves. And if they can't have it, they won't want you to have it either. I'm just speaking truth here from experience. Okay? So I'll give you an example. So those of you who know me, have been following me for a while, you know that I teach something called Timelines Expanded Masterclass. So I've been teaching this for 5 years now. But I had been cultivating and crafting material in that 12-module program for a few years before I started teaching it. And I was holding my cards real close to my chest at that point, because I knew, holding the visionary energy that I do, that I had to keep my own counsel with this, that I had to trust my higher self as guidance, that I had to be with my God sovereign self, that I had to communicate directly with Source and be my own personal, uninterrupted, streamlined communication vessel with Source. Because talking about the nature of time and timelines and being able to create a 12-module course around this and being able to talk about some pretty nebulous, esoteric concepts that at the time were not grounded into reality yet, that was a pretty lofty goal. But I couldn't deny this information was coming through. This information was coming through in messages and downloads like gangbusters. I couldn't stop the flow of information. Some days I had to actually physically say, like, okay, you guys got to slow it down because I need to be able to integrate this and work with this. I need to make this workable. I need to make it practical, shareable, and explainable. So you got to slow it down. And we get to do that when we're in our power. We know we are working in our power. And so when I was in that space of creating that program, I kept my own counsel. I felt uncoachable in a lot of ways. Even though I've always worked with coaches, I always have coaches. They're good at helping me with other things. But when I'm in my visionary capacity, I can only work with other visionaries. And at the time I was crafting this, I didn't know any. Thankfully, I know a lot more visionary women now. And I work with them. They're my peers. And they're the only people that I will keep counsel with, and not always, because sometimes if I'm working on something really, really big, I gotta play my cards close to the chest. I have to keep my own counsel. I have to believe in my own power, strength, fortitude, and resilience to be able to work with this and be in a solution-based way of bringing it through. And I can do that. I've crafted that. I've worked with that. I've cultivated that over time. And I work with other women visionaries who are just stepping into this identity of self, of being able to be a visionary and hold something that feels very big, very sacred, and something that only they can bring through to make part of physical reality. And we can do it in a grounded way because we work with ideas and concepts and the alchemy of that. of bridging spirit with human, because that's the only way we can bring something in through the physical. And so if I had talked about timelines expanded right at the beginning, I would have probably shut that whole thing down, because I would have had the feedback like, are you crazy? Who are you to teach about time and timelines? You know, who are you to teach about that? Who are you to share about that? And anyone who's taken this course or is taking it with me right now, you know, it's very powerful. And it's singularly unique. There isn't anything else like it out there. And the bigness of that, I was very aware of when I was creating it, but that's why it was all the more important. And there still isn't anything like it out there, teaching it 5 years later. But I knew, because as a visionary, you can look through timelines as kind of like flipping through a Rolodex and seeing potentials of things and how they play out. I was able to see how much more time and timelines was going to be part of the collective conversation. I mean, look how many Marvel movies, Doctor Strange, time travel, Outlander, time travel, the Atom Project, I just watched that the other day, time travel. There's so many shows, movies about time travel now, like way more than ever before. It's because the visionary is able to look into further potentials and see, this is going to be something that's going to be playing out. This is going to be something that's going to be on people's minds. How about a way to work with this? And it was slow getting this program off the ground. There was only a handful of people, still are, who are really invested in this. I think maybe at this point I have 90 people or so that have taken Timelines Expanded Master Course, because it is spiritually advanced stuff, as you can probably get. We get into the quantum realms with this stuff. But a visionary also has a way to not only sit with that vision, but she has to actualize it. She has to be able to make it workable, tangible, shareable, teachable. And this is my sweet spot of being able to do that and help others that I work with do that. But you have to be like a fierce mama bear or a wolf mama with your vision. If you're holding something that feels really big, feels really sacred, feels really massive at this time, you're going to have to really protect it. You're going to have to keep your own counsel, and that takes some mental resilience. It takes some fortitude to be able to do that. You're going to feel a little bit lonely. I'm not going to lie to you. The visionary will feel a little bit lonely because there's only a handful of people, and God bless you when you find your people that are fellow visionaries as well, that can help you hold that vision with you. And when you do find them, don't let them go because that support network of women or men that you find who are also holding a big vision, who are also holding a sacred dream for humanity, those are your people, if you identify with being a visionary. And when you are in a group of support like that, then you have more than just you holding the energy, holding the energetic of that container to flesh out, to fill out, to be translatable. That is a powerful place to be. And so my invitation to you is this. If you are a woman and you are holding this energy and you want to actualize it, I don't care how big it feels. In fact, the bigger the better, because that's how I like to work. And I can help you disrupt your own patterning and thinking that it can't be, it can't work out, I can't do this, who am I to do this? Not in a hand-holding way, that's not how I do it. In a truth-telling way, okay? Those of you who work with me know that I'm not a hand-holder. But in a very physical, real, tangible way, this vision, if you have it, you're holding the awareness of it, and you can feel this in your body, it needs to be actualized. And if you don't know how to do that, it's incumbent upon you to work with someone who does, who works with idea and concept alchemy, but also who works with you to cultivate your gifts as a visionary even more, to ground into the next expansive level of that. Because you don't just stop with that one vision. That one vision you have, you don't just stop there. You keep going with it. You keep creating more visions, more actualizations from those visions, and keep grounding in this new paradigm. and this new earth timeline, because as women, that is what we are here to do. So visionary energy for women on this planet is the most important palpable electric energy at this time. If you identify with this, if you have it, you want to grow it and cultivate it, and you want to take that vision and actualize it. That's what the Lotus Throne Mastermind is. And we're going to start on April 4th. And it's open to only 8 women. And we're going to meet twice a week. So on Tuesdays and Fridays is when we meet. Our first class that we meet is on Monday, and it's an introduction to the energy and greeting each other in the space, because we are going to be a support network for each other as fellow visionaries, committing to holding each other's visions for each other, as well as holding our own. On Tuesdays, we cultivate our visionary gifts. There's a greater expression and an expansion of your visionary capability. If you recognize that in yourself, there's more for you. A lot more. And I will help you to work with that and cultivate that. On Fridays, we work on your vision. So we work with actual tangible concepts, ideas. How do you make it real? How do you do it? How do you facilitate it? How do you translate it? How do you share it? How do you teach it? You're not a hand holder yet. You help us hold it in our hand. I love that, Shantae. Thank you. So this is open now. It is an enrollment process that requires an application. And when you fill out the application, I want to know what you're working on. I want to know how you see your life. How are you envisioning your life? If you could wave a magic wand, what's working out for you? What's happening for you? What's you, and who are you 6 months down the line? Okay. I want to know that you're a fellow visionary. So there's a client application. And if upon receipt of the client application, it feels like you're a right fit for the Lotus Throne Mastermind, which is 9 weeks. We have 19 sessions. These are goddess numbers. So we're working with a lot of divine feminine energy in here, if you haven't guessed. It's for 8 women only. You and I will have a little email back and forth about whether this is a right fit for you or not. And we start on April 4th. Did I mention that? April 4th. And it'll be at noon on Tuesdays and Fridays for 19 sessions, 9 weeks after that. There's a couple of different payment plan options. So I'm going to put the link for that right here. Let me see if I can find it, because I don't have internet. But if you're interested in getting into this program, it's, again, not like anything else out there. Not in the way that this is being offered. Not in the kind of support that you get. You also get 2 free sessions with me as well. They're not free. They're part of the package, part of the Lotus Throne Mastermind for the visionary woman. You get a coaching session with me in April and a coaching session with me in May. So you have private time with me as well as being in the group program. But we're going to be intimately sharing in the group program. That's why I wanted to keep it to 8 women only. So the Lotus Throne Mastermind link for you to read more is here. I'll put it in the comments when I'm done. So thank you for joining me here today. I hope that this resonated with you strongly. And if this is for you, I wouldn't wait on this. I would jump in this program. It's going to be absolutely amazing and expansive. And you'll be surprised what we can cover in the space of this container with each other, and how much you'll actually access that you didn't know was there, was already in your energy, that was already in part of your personal power. It's just waiting to be expressed. I have an ability to be able to tap into, like any good intuitive mentor, the tap into things that you are not seeing, or you're living so close to every day that you don't see, because we work with energy in 2 ways, right? But this is an amazing opportunity to cultivate that part of you that just feels there's something there, and I know there's something there, and I don't know how to get this out. This is your program. I will place a link because I can't get it. I have not very good internet right now, but I'll do it as soon as I get off of here. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, I can't do it right now. Let me see. Okay. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, there we go. So I can place it up here. And you have 3 different payment plans. So there it is. In there. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. It has been lovely spending this morning with you, and have a great day. If you have any questions, feel free to reply in the comments here, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. When you read through the Lotus Throne Mastermind description, scroll all the way to the bottom to grab the access link for the client application if you're interested. Okay? So lots of love and peace. Mwah. Bye, everyone.